Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? I see that some of you are already connected and you're already telling me how you are. How is everybody doing? Some of you already know that I'm going to ask, where are you from? So, where are you from? I see that we have some people from Brazil. Excellent. Sanel, awesome. Ahmed, awesome. Yara, Mehdi, awesome. So, Laszlo, so excellent. Where are you guys from? I know that some of you are from very far from me, that you're from very different places in the world. So, how are you? How is everything? Today, we're going to be studying adverbs. Adverbs are something that is very frequently misunderstood, and sometimes people don't really understand what it is or how to use them. It's not so difficult, it's actually quite easy. Bad hair day. It's actually quite easy if you know the rules. We are going to start a two-part series where we explain adverbs really in detail. But first, we have to make sure that you guys understand what adverbs are. So we're going to cover all of the details, make sure that everything is really clear. And today we're going to begin with just the normal general aspects of adverbs. Okay, first we have to make sure that you understand what an adverb is. And I see that we're receiving our messages. So I see Mehdi is from Pakistan, Luan from Brazil. It's nice to see you again, Luan. I see someone from South Korea. I see Valeria from Brazil. Sanel is from South Africa, as well as Madonna. Awesome. Excellent. Erva is from Turkey. Awesome. Okay, you guys. So we have a lot of people from a lot of different places. And I think it's one of the most diverse classes we've had yet. So I see Natividad from Mexico. Servat from Turkey. Osman from Somalia. Awesome. Awesome. Really awesome. So yeah, it is a really diverse group of people. And I see that obviously for you guys, it's for most of you guys, it's very early in the morning. And for some of you guys, it's very late. So awesome. That's really good. Really good. Okay. Now, the reason there was a slight delay was, as always, Cambly sometimes flips this. Can you see this the right way? Adverbs? Or is it flipped? I see Giuseppe from Italy. Awesome. Giuseppe, I have some students from Italy. I have some students from Turkey. I have some students from Mexico. I don't have a lot of people from South Africa. I do have a lot of students from Brazil. So we're going to just wait 1 or 2 minutes more, guys, until everybody is connected. And then we're going to begin with our lesson about adverbs. All right. Farjana from India. Awesome. So just give me a thumbs up, you guys, if you can see the text correctly. If it's flipped, tell me it's flipped. But if it's correct, just give me a thumbs up. Okay. Because I need... Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't know why sometimes Cambly... I don't know why sometimes YouTube does that. But for some reason, it just really looks weird. So, yeah. Okay. So, are we ready, you guys? Yeah, you see, sometimes it gets a little funny. Okay. So, good. So, excellent, you guys. If we're ready, then we will begin. Okay? All right. So, adverbs. What are adverbs? let's make sure that we understand what adverbs are. There are four main types of word in the English language. Of course, there are a little bit more. There are some that are very complicated, but for now, we're just going to talk about adverbs. Does anybody know what an adverb is or how to define one? Tell me. What is an adverb? In the meantime, I'm going to stick this one up. And make sure that you guys can see that. So, what is an adverb, people? Well, I'll wait for you guys to understand. A word or phrase that modifies, qualifies an adjective, says Irva. Who else can help with that? A word or phrase that modifies or qualifies an adjective. You're kind of close, Irva, but it's not really so precise. Desi says adverbs describe and modify verbs and adjectives. Frajana says expressions that modify a verb. Antonio says to discuss a verb. Good. So I like that expression or that description better. We're going to explain it in a moment. So as I was saying, there are four main types of words in the English language. Four main types. Okay, there are other types, but these are the four most important ones and the four that we use more frequently. The word types are noun. I'm going to write it here just so you guys have it. They are noun, adjective, verb, and adverb. Okay. So when we talk about these four word types, it's important to remember that they are used for different things. And normally, or in many situations, we can't really use them in the same way. But rather, we have to make sure that they are a little bit different, that we're using them for different things. And just as a refresher, a noun is an object, okay? A noun is a thing. So when we're talking about reality, humanity, or whatever, we usually use things, and all of those things are nouns. The chair, the person, the teacher, the man, the watch, the microphone, for example, all of those things are nouns, and I don't think you guys have trouble describing or using nouns. All right? Now, other than nouns, we have other things like adjectives, and adjectives are useful to describe the noun. Can you guys give me some examples of adjectives or how to use them? Or you could also, if that's too easy, you can give me a sentence in which you use any combination of noun and adjective. So you could say, I'll also give you some examples. You could say, the t-shirt is black. The wall is white. Valeria says, the class is big. Excellent. Nasta says, Sarah is pretty. Very good. Antonio says, he is very tall. Natividad says, is red an adjective? Yes. Very good question, Natividad. There are many types of adjectives. Okay. Nationality, form, shape, origin, opinion, etc. And one of those includes color. Okay. So red is an adjective. Colors are adjectives. Anything that describes an object is an adjective or can be used as an adjective. Luan says, the book is too heavy. Suzanne says, it's a beautiful day. Chloe says, beautiful eyes. Virginia says, horse is white. Good. So, very good. Most of you understand it. All right. Now, when you say she is my sister, sister is not really an adjective. Sister is a noun. Okay. Because it's a thing. It's a person. It has a specific attribute to it, but it's a noun. Okay. Like teacher. Of course, teacher does something specific. It has a specific attribute, but it's a noun. Okay. Now, I think you guys understand very clearly what a noun and an adjective is. What about a verb? I also think you guys understand what a verb is. It's relatively easy, right? A verb is any type of action that we do in the sentence. And there can be many types of actions, okay? So it can be something like jump, run, speak, sleep. Mhm. All of those are verbs, okay? Give me some sentences with some verbs, you guys, just to help me a little bit more. Give me some sentences with a verb where the verb is clearly really, really, really important. We want to avoid the verb to be just because it's a little bit simple and overused. Okay? So tell me some sentences with the verb. As you're going to see, it's very easy and you're going to get it very easily. Nasta says, I'm play soccer. So not quite, Nasta. Un says, I read a book. Sanel says, the girls is eating. Again, there's a little problem there. Valeria says, I'm running. Elisa says, I run every day. Luan says, she hates waking up early. Okay. Irva gives us a more formal definition and says, a verb is a word that is used for saying something about a person, thing, or a place. Not exactly, Irva. A verb is very simply an action. Okay. An action or an activity, something that we do. Okay. Now, of course, a verb has to be done by someone. It has to be done by a person or by an object or by a place or something. Of course, we cannot have a verb alone, but it does not exactly say something about us. We do the verb. Okay. Desi says, I should go to the store. Very good. Virginia says, I usually sleep early. Excellent. Suzanne says, I am studying English. Dano says, I am reading. Natividad says, my grandson eats his food. Excellent. Eun says, I dance on the floor. And Valeria asks, can a verb be an expression? Well, I think you mean a phrasal verb. A verb can have two components or it can be longer. But if that's not what you mean, I would need an example, Valeria. Tell me an example of what you mean, and I'll help you. Antonio says the team doesn't play very well. Very good. So you guys, I intentionally have this little white page here because I wanted to just remind people of SVO if that wasn't clear. Oh, this is too small. Okay, give me 1 second. So SVO. Have any of you heard of SVO? SVO is actually something quite simple. And the reason that I mention SVO is because some of you were having trouble with saying sentences with a verb. Okay? When I say SVO, it's because all of your sentences should follow this structure. And sometimes some of you were forgetting that. For example, when you say I'm play, you're saying I am play, which is incorrect. First, you could just say I play. So you could say I is the subject and play is the verb. And then you can say, I don't know, something like soccer. And that would be the object. But if you say I am play, or I'm play, whatever you want, this is incorrect. Okay? Because am is a verb, but play is not a verb. So this sentence is wrong. Okay? And same thing with some other sentences. Okay? That's why you have to be really careful. Valeria says, it's a phrase verb. Now I understand. Okay, phrasal verbs. Yes, phrasal verbs. Farjana says subject, verb, object. Very good. Desi says, I have 2 cats. Evandro says, I go to the gym regularly. Awesome. Good. Yes. So those are the structures that you have to follow. So I think all of you guys are very, 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 very clear on what a verb is. Just if you want, I'm going to search for the link of the other class of subject, verb, object, okay? SVO. And I hope our editor can put it in the description, but I'll also link it here. This is if you guys have not studied SVO, okay? SVO is super, super important, and it's really necessary that you're aware of it, okay? So go check that out if you haven't already, and that'll really help you understand and use the right grammar, okay? Now, we already finished that, so let's go back to the adverbs, which is the really important part of this lesson. You already know what a noun is, what an adjective is, what a verb is, all right? So as you can see here, one of the important things is that nouns and adjectives go together, okay? We cannot have an adjective alone, and it always has to modify specifically a noun, all right? It cannot modify anything else. An adjective does not modify an adjective or describe it, okay? Adjectives modify nouns. Is that clear? Give me a thumbs up if you understand until now. So, adjectives describe nouns. They cannot describe anything else, okay? I'll wait for you guys to just make sure that it's clear. Luan says, okay. Okay. All right. Laszlo says, okay. Ewan says it's okay. All right. So I'll assume you understand. Perfect. Now, adjectives modify nouns, but what about adverbs? Well, adverbs modify verbs. And that seems quite easy, right? It's very direct. An adverb usually modifies a verb, or that's its purpose, at least. That's the intention. Okay? Suzanne says it's okay. Dano says it's okay. So excellent. I think the majority of us can really understand what we were saying. All right? Now, an adverb will modify a verb. All right? But here's something funny. Most adverbs are based on an adjective. Most of them. Not all of them. Just most of them. First, we have to take the base, an adjective, and then we add ly. I know that this is something very simple in our mind, but can you guys give me an example? This is how to build an adverb. So give me an adjective, write it in the messages, write an adjective, and then write ly. You're going to see that there are a lot of irregularities. There are a lot of little confusing ones that just don't fit. Desi says rarely, particularly. Very good. Very good. The adjective form is rare and particular. So if you just add ly, you say rarely. And you can just say particularly. Luan says perfectly. Lisa says clearly. Very good. Edek said, I'm sorry, I hope that's the right pronunciation of your name. I see that you say mistakenly, which is very good. Okay. The adjective form is mistaken, of course, and if you make it an adverb, you can mistakenly. Farjana says honestly. Awesome. Ewan says totally. Edva says finally. Dano says randomly. Dr. Prabjot says quickly, efficiently, happily, and hopefully. Awesome. Ewan says terribly. Bourgeois says frequently. So all of those are very, very good. All of you got that right. All of you are saying the right words, right? So that's awesome. That's really, really perfect. I think most of you already have a very good idea of more or less what an adjective is. So, very good. Excellent. So, that's awesome. Now, do you guys have any questions on how to make adjectives or adverbs? Because we have to be careful with how we use them. Here's the thing. Erva says unsightly. Ilun says finally. Very good. Very, 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 very good. Excellent. So, for those of you who aren't aware, in the US there are many names, and my name is actually native. So, my ancestry is even more American. Now, adjectives and adverbs. Is that clear, you guys? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you understand. British. Luan says, very good. Adjective "ly" comes before. Okay. Edak asks, does adjective plus "ly" come before the verb or after the verb? Here's the thing. Normally, we have to put an adjective in a very specific place. Okay. Okay. So normally, in SVO, we have to put the adjective here or here. I'm talking about the adjective, okay? Because an adjective modifies a noun specifically. So the noun and the adjective have to be together. They have to be right next to each other, okay? Right there, adjective and noun. So you cannot put an adjective here, for example, before the verb. Because it would try to modify the verb, and that doesn't make sense. It's really, really different. Now, the other thing is that because we have in a sentence normally at least one or two nouns, like I or a sport, like the object, we can't put it in different places. That's the adjective. However, how many verbs do we have in a sentence? You can see in the formula. How many verbs do we usually have in a sentence? We only have one, of course. So, because we only have one verb, the adverb can only really modify the verb. So, even if we put it in the beginning, or before or after the verb, or even here, it's very clear that it will modify the verb. So, this is a very important thing. An adverb can very, very frequently change order. This is so weird because in English, usually we can't do that. Okay? In English, normally we only have one verb and one subject and one object. And because we only have that, in English, normally every word has to be in order. Okay, there's SVO, there's a specific formula. So normally it's really hard to change the order of the words. However, with an adverb is one of the only types of words that can change the order. All right, and I'll give you some examples. Okay. I drink coffee. Right? Let's have the sentence, I drink coffee. Coffee. So I can say, Can you guys help me with an adverb for how I drink my coffee? Remember, an adverb is something that describes the way that you drink the coffee, the way that you do the verb. So tell me, you guys, some examples of adverbs of drinking. Okay. Sorry, guys. So come on, tell me some adverbs for drinking coffee. Okay. Let's see. Suzanne says usually. Yes. Okay. Remember, most adverbs are going to end in ly. So usual is the adjective. Usually is the adverb. Usually modifies drink. Desi says, every day I drink coffee. Fajana says, I drink cold coffee. Natividad says, I drink coffee usually. So good. Some of you guys are a little confused. I'm not asking for adjectives. For example, Farjan says, Farjana, says, I drink cold coffee. That's not an adverb. Cold is an adjective that modifies coffee. So cold is, I drink cold coffee is a good sentence, but it's not an adverb. Okay. And there was another one that I wanted to explain. So Suzanne was right, usually. Hardly. Everybody says, I hardly ever drink coffee. That's good. Okay. So, guys, remember, do not confuse adjectives and adverbs, all right? Because they are different and they are used for different things. Bushra says, I drink coffee slowly. Very good. So we have slowly and usually. Okay. Give me some more, you guys, because some of you, remember, you're getting confused with an adjective, right? It is not an adjective. It's an adjective plus ly. Okay. TK gave us a very interesting sentence. I'll read it in a moment just because I want to explain another thing first. Okay. So in the meantime, you guys, I'm just going to write something here. Okay, just make some notes here. All right. So I frequently. All right. So you guys are really focusing on the adverbs of frequency. So there are a lot of ways we can describe this sentence. I drink coffee. That's really, really something. Edek says, I drink strong coffee. Again, that's wrong because strong modifies coffee. It's an adjective. That is not an adverb. Remember, most adverbs end in ly. If you guys write the sentence and it doesn't have something with ly on it, it's not an adverb, probably. Okay? So, these are some good examples, but let's explain more. There are a lot of ways that we can describe the way we drink. Remember, we have to describe the verb, okay? The way we do the verb. So, For example, here we could say, I drink coffee carefully. I drink coffee slowly. I drink coffee usually. I drink coffee quickly. I drink coffee loudly. I drink coffee sloppily. I drink coffee. Um, we already said quickly. We already said slowly. We could say, I drink coffee quietly. I drink coffee responsibly. I drink coffee irresponsibly. So you see, all of those ways are to describe the way that we drink. Rarely is a very good example, Lubna, because I drink coffee rarely. Good. But what I wanted to explain to you guys is that the adverb can go here or at the end of our sentence. I slowly drink coffee. I drink slowly coffee, which is unusual, but it's possible. And I drink coffee slowly. The most common ones are here and at the end. Okay. Lately. So now it says lately. Bushra says pleasurely. Right. You can say pleasurely, happily, angrily, sadly. You can say emotionally. You could say calmly. All of those are great examples of how we can use that those adverbs to describe that sentence. Okay. So very good. Very, 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 very good. But it's really important that we are careful and that we pronounce it in the right way. Okay. All right. So that's really important. Now, you guys, I hope you understand, because I also wanted to explain something that a lot of you guys were doing in the activity. You were making mistakes because you were using irregular adjectives or irregular adverbs. All right. In English, we have, let me put it here. Can you see that? Yes, you can see that. In English, we have some irregular adverbs because they come from irregular adjectives. For example, well. The adverb is well. Do you know what the adjective is? This comes from the same concept, from the same word, right? So where does well come from? And let me explain. When I'm talking about irregular adverbs, I mean that they come from a verb. They come from an adjective that doesn't really follow the rules. So when it doesn't follow the rules, we cannot just use adjective plus li. We have to change it. Desi and Bushra say good. Erva says good as well. What about the rest of you guys? Do you agree? Okay. Well, whether you knew or you didn't know, yes, this comes from good. We don't say goodly. All right, that would be incorrect. We never say goodly. We say well. For example, I eat well, not I eat goodly. Okay. So you cannot say I eat goodly. You would need to say I eat well. She danced well. Natividad. Very good. Excellent. Very good. Then we have Desi asks, why do people say I am good? Is that incorrect? No, that's correct. Because when you say I am, you use an adjective. It's like when you say I am happy. You don't say I am happily. That would be incorrect. No. So you say I am happy, I am tired, I am sad, I am emotional, I am good. Okay. So you can say I am good with an adjective. Okay. Like with any adjective. Some people do say I am well, right? It is considered more proper, but now no one, I think, would consider that wrong. Eun says, I sing well. Very good. Very, very, very good, Eun. So that's well. And these other ones are These other ones are a little bit different because instead of adding "ly," we just use them almost directly. Far, little, late, or fast. We don't need to say farly or littly or fastly. Fastly doesn't exist. Lately does exist, but it also means something different from late. Mhm. Lately means recently, and late means that you were not on time. Okay. Someone asks, what is the difference between good and well? Well, as I was saying, good is an adjective and well is an adverb. So we need to use them in different ways. If you missed the explanation, you can rewatch the video or you can check out the video that we did on adjectives and nouns, right? Remember, you guys, by the way, we're almost about to finish, that you can subscribe to this channel. It helps us know that these classes are really working and that you want to keep seeing these classes. Also, drop a like, drop a comment after the video is published, and share it with your friends. You know, some people might want to learn these types of lessons, and unfortunately, sometimes we forget them if we don't study English frequently enough. So it's really, 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 really important to try to repeat it as frequently as you can, to watch these types of videos and to share it with your friends. Okay, so go do that. Like I said, drop a like, subscribe if you want. It's really a lot of content, and on Cambly, on the YouTube channel, we have a lot of videos explaining a lot of different topics. But let's go with the last part of the lesson, of this lesson, because we're going to continue next week. So now that you understand what an adverb is, let's explain what types of adverbs we have. All right. All right. So what types of adverbs do we have? There are these main types, these 6. Okay. When we were giving examples, most of you were really, really focused on adverbs of frequency. Now, that's not bad, but there are many, many more types. Okay. And it's important that you understand that adverbs don't have to be frequency. Like, you don't need to say frequently, usually, rarely. Those are the easy adverbs, all right? And they're the ones that you can use very often, but you don't need to use that type of adverb always. You can use other types of adverbs, okay? So, for example, what about an adverb of manner? Can anybody help me? I can think of 2 examples, and that'll give you a clue. Carefully and beautifully, all right? So an adverb of manner is how I do things, the attitude or way that I do things. Badly would be a good one. Desi says carefully, right? That's what I said. Sanel says daily, not exactly an adverb of manner. No. What else, you guys? Can anybody else think of an adverb of manner? All right, we already gave a few. Badly, beautifully, carefully. Yes, I guess you could say quickly. All right. Awkwardly, good. Carefully, Sanel, good. We already said that one. So good. Suzanne says anxiously, very good, Suzanne. Excellent. Okay, are there any others? I think not. All right. So those are adverbs of manner. All right. There are many, 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 many adverbs of manner. Beautifully, Varjana, very good. We already said that one. And they describe the way or the attitude, the manner that we do a verb. Mm-hmm. Now, what about adverbs of frequency? Okay. That is something that you guys loved, and a lot of you were saying it very, very, very often. All right. You guys gave a lot of adverbs of frequency. Prajama says, honestly, very good. Yes. Angrily, wisely, says Sanel. Very good. Yes. So now with the adverbs of frequency, Suzanne from the beginning was saying usually, which is a great example. It's a very common adverb of frequency, right? Usually. Bourgeois says rarely. Very good. Very, 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 very good. Rarely. Eva says occasionally. Very good. Very, very, very good. Never. Right. Rarely. We already said that one. Good. Very good. So as you can see, adverbs of frequency are usually very, very clear. Okay. Right. Mostly, no. Sometimes, yes. Right? Very good. Often, also, yes. Now, very close to frequency are adverbs of time, which are not exactly the same. And of course, you don't really have to memorize the difference. It's not really a problem as long as you know that they are adverbs. Okay. Adverbs of time are like recently or eventually, something that describes the timeline, not your habit, but the timeline. Right. So, adverbs of time, what do you think? Can anybody help me with some adverbs of time? Huh? Daily? Well, that would be a frequency, Suzanne. Today. Good. Yes. Desi. Right, right. Today can be an adverb because you're describing when or the time that you're doing something. Yesterday. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, 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 yes. Very good. Very, very good. So that's exactly what I mean. That these words are used to describe when it happened in the timeline. You could also say soon or tomorrow, or you already said yesterday, you already said today, every day, I guess could be, but it could also be a frequency. Temporarily, yes, this would be of time. All right. Permanently, also. Good. Very good. Very, very good. Now, what about of place? These are a little bit different because a lot of them don't really follow the ly structure. Okay. So an adverb of place just really refers to where something happened. And these are the ones that get a little bit tricky because they do not have the ly, right? So some of you say here. Who said that? Desi said here, there. Excellent. Those are the adverbs of place. I was going to say time. Place. Very good. Adverbs of place can be here, there, up, down. They can be outside, inside. Tell me some others, you guys. Somewhere. Suzanne, very good. Somewhere. Lilith says nearby, of course. Very good. Whoever says towards, what do you think? Is that correct? Yes, it's correct. Sanel says somewhere. Yes, well, Suzanne said somewhere. Edak says next. It could be next to. For Jonas says far or near. Good. Bourgeois says between. Excellent. I think the adverbs of place are actually very clear for you guys. I thought that might be a little bit confusing, but no, you're saying it very well. All of them, or most of them that you've been saying, are correct. Everybody can say here. Good. Very good. There. We already said here and there. Everybody says northwards. You can use the cardinal points as adverbs of place, like east, west, north, south. Good. Good. Very, very good. So all of those, right? Behind, below, along, um, away. What else? Okay, maybe upstairs or above, we can also say. All right. So good, good. I think you guys understand adverbs of place really, really well. Eastern and Western, Farjana, are adjectives. So that's incorrect. Eastern and Western, you could use to describe objects. Okay, Natividad is below, of course. Excellent. So very good. Now, focusing. These are also weird ones because the focusing ones are usually used very rarely. All right. And they don't really have that. They have a very specific usage. They are words like mainly. Okay. Mainly, mostly, specifically. They could also be either. What else? Can you guys? I know that the focus ones are also going to be a little tricky. Okay, so if you want, those are enough for me. But we also have adverbs of degree, which are a little bit more interesting. Adverbs of degree. You already said some, guys. All right, because the adverbs of degree describe how much you do something. All right. So they're also a little similar to frequency sometimes. For example, you could say hardly. All right. Slightly, Lilith. Excellent. Lilith says slightly. Very good. Very, very good. Slightly or nearly. Antonio says, I'm focusing on my English class. Very good. Adek says mostly, right? Most of it, but not all of it. Excellent. Nosifo says vastly. Good. There's one that a lot of people use very often, and it's so or to. So and to are adverbs of degree. All right. So specifically, these adverbs are ones that are used to emphasize sentences, and they're the ones that we usually use to really, really give intensity to an expression. All right. Now, as you can see, guys, even though there are a lot of adverbs and a lot of different rules about them, they can be confusing, and there are some exceptions to these rules. So we're going to have to keep studying. Okay. We designed this lesson to be 2 parts just to make sure that we understood everything and all of the little details, because there's going to be a little bit more of the explanation coming up next weekend, okay, on Saturday. Well, Saturday for me, I'm sure it will be a little bit different for some of you guys. Check out the Cambly YouTube channel, and there you will see it's already programmed, or it will be programmed very soon, but it's already scheduled for this weekend, all right? So as you progress through the week, as you work or as you study or as you spend your days, be sure to practice this class and be ready, because next time in our next class, we're going to continue with this lesson. All right. I'm very happy to see you guys as always. My name is Cuau. You can follow me on Cambly. You can just search my name and I'll come up. There are a lot of videos that I've made for Cambly that you can find on the YouTube channel. You can just search for my name on and add Cambly, and there are a lot of videos that are going to appear on our channel, or you can just go to our channel. All right. So thank you guys, as always, for participating. Thank you for being here. I hope it was really useful. I hope that you learned a lot. And remember, next class, we're going to learn even more. So be prepared, be ready. And if you haven't already joined Cambly, where you can have a private lesson with me, specifically with me, or with thousands of other tutors that you can choose from. All right. So thank you so much. See you next week. Hope to see you guys very, very happy and ready, and have a very good rest of the week. All right, guys. So bye-bye and thank you. See you guys. Thank you, Natividad. Thank you, Bushra. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Lilith. Thank you, Luan, as always. Thank you, Eun. Thank you, Erva, Elisa, Antonio. Have a good Sunday as well. Desi, thank you. Bushra, we'll see each other next week. Excellent. Lubna says, thank you for an informative class. It was my pleasure, Lubna. So bye-bye, everyone. Thank you, Nosifo. Thank you, Natividad. Thank you, Erva. Thank you, Sanel. Awesome, you guys. Have a great day and take care of yourself. Bye-bye, guys. We'll see each other soon.